The silent saboteurs of morning. Why people over 70 must be vigilant. Mornings are often heralded as the fresh start of each day, a time when the world awakens with the promise of new opportunities, renewed energy, and boundless potential. For many, this sacred period is a ritual of self-care, reflection, and preparation for what lies ahead. But for those over the age of 70, mornings can sometimes carry hidden dangers that quietly undermine health, happiness, and vitality. These dangers are not always obvious. They creep into daily routines like shadows, unnoticed until their effects become undeniable. Imagine waking up to the soft glow of sunlight filtering through your bedroom window, feeling the gentle warmth on your skin, and hearing the distant chirping of birds. It's a moment of pure serenity, isn't it? Yet, beneath this tranquil surface, small choices made during these early hours can have profound consequences. These choices, often rooted in habit or convenience, can either set the tone for a vibrant, fulfilling day or lead to fatigue, discomfort, and even long-term health risks. In this section, we'll delve deep into the first of 4 dangerous morning mistakes commonly made by people over 70, rushing out of bed too quickly. This seemingly innocuous act may seem harmless, but its implications ripple far beyond the initial grogginess of waking up. By understanding why this mistake occurs, how it affects the body, and what steps can be taken to avoid it, you'll gain valuable insights into safeguarding your mornings and, by extension, your overall well-being. The anatomy of a rushed awakening. Let's begin with a story. Picture Margaret, a spry 72-year-old grandmother who has spent decades juggling family responsibilities, volunteer work, and personal passions. Her mornings are a whirlwind of activity. She wakes up at 6:30 a.m. sharp, throws off her blankets, swings her legs over the side of the bed, and stands up within seconds. She does this because she feels there's no time to waste. The coffee needs brewing, the newspaper waits to be read, and her granddaughter expects a FaceTime call before school starts. To Margaret, lingering in bed feels indulgent, almost frivolous. But one fateful morning, something unexpected happens. As Margaret rises abruptly from her bed, a wave of dizziness washes over her. The room spins, her vision blurs, and she stumbles backward onto the mattress. Her heart races, and for a moment, panic grips her. What has happened? Was it a stroke? A heart attack? After catching her breath and realizing she's okay, Margaret chalks it up to just getting older and moves on with her day. But deep down, she knows something isn't right. What Margaret experienced was orthostatic hypotension, a condition where blood pressure drops suddenly upon standing, leading to dizziness, lightheadedness, or even fainting. While anyone can experience this phenomenon, it becomes increasingly common as we age due to changes in our cardiovascular system. Blood vessels lose elasticity, the heart pumps less efficiently, and the body struggles to adjust blood flow rapidly. When combined with dehydration, medication side effects, or pre-existing conditions like diabetes or Parkinson's disease, the risk multiplies exponentially. Now, let's break this down further. The human body operates like a finely tuned orchestra, with every system working in harmony to maintain balance. During sleep, blood pressure naturally decreases, allowing the heart and arteries to rest. When you wake up, the body must gradually recalibrate to meet the demands of being upright. If you leap out of bed too quickly, however, this delicate process is disrupted. Blood rushes away from the brain toward the lower extremities, causing a temporary shortage of oxygen-rich blood in the cerebral cortex. The result? That dizzy spell that leaves you clutching the nearest piece of furniture for support. For younger individuals, this might simply mean a brief moment of disorientation. But for seniors, the stakes are much higher. A fall resulting from dizziness could lead to fractures, head injuries, or other serious complications. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, falls are the leading cause of injury-related deaths among adults aged 65 and older. Even if no physical harm occurs, the psychological impact of such an episode can erode confidence and independence, making future activities feel daunting or unsafe. Why do we rush? Understanding why so many seniors rush out of bed requires examining both practical and emotional factors. On a practical level, life doesn't slow down just because we've reached retirement age. Many older adults remain active participants in their families and communities, balancing caregiving duties, social engagements, and hobbies. Time feels precious, and the idea of wasting precious minutes lying in bed can feel counterintuitive. Emotionally, the desire to stay productive and relevant plays a significant role. Society often associates aging with decline, and resisting this narrative becomes a subconscious priority for many seniors. They push themselves to keep up with younger generations, proving that they're still capable, energetic, and indispensable. Unfortunately, this mindset can sometimes override the body's natural signals, leading to behaviors that inadvertently harm rather than help. Consider John, a retired engineer in his mid-70s. Every morning, he sets his alarm for 5:45 a.m. so he can join his walking group at the local park by 6:30. He prides himself on never missing a session, viewing it as proof that he's still in the game. But recently, he's noticed bouts of dizziness after rising too quickly. Rather than addressing the issue, he dismisses it as a minor inconvenience, unwilling to admit that his body might need more time to adjust. His reluctance stems not from stubbornness, but from fear. The fear of appearing weak, slowing down, or losing the respect of his peers. This internal conflict is all too familiar for countless seniors. Balancing the drive to stay engaged with the realities of aging is a tightrope walk, and mornings often serve as the testing ground. Without proper awareness and strategies, the urge to rush can overshadow the importance of listening to one's body. The ripple effect of a chaotic morning. A rushed awakening doesn't exist in isolation. Its effects extend throughout the entire day. Think of it as setting off a chain reaction. When you start your morning in a state of stress or imbalance, it influences everything that follows. You might find yourself feeling irritable, distracted, or physically drained, which can affect interactions with loved ones, performance in daily tasks, and even decision-making abilities. Take Sarah, for example, a 78-year-old widow who lives alone. On days when she jumps out of bed too fast and experiences dizziness, she tends to skip breakfast altogether. Why? Because she's already behind schedule, and preparing a meal feels like an unnecessary delay. Skipping breakfast compromises her nutrition intake, leaving her low on energy and prone to cravings later in the day. By lunchtime, she's reaching for sugary snacks instead of healthier options, perpetuating a cycle of poor dietary choices. Over time, this pattern contributes to weight gain, insulin resistance, and increased vulnerability to chronic diseases. Moreover, the mental toll of a chaotic morning shouldn't be underestimated. Stress triggers the release of cortisol, the fight or flight hormone, which, when elevated consistently, can impair cognitive function and exacerbate anxiety. For seniors, whose brains are already navigating the complexities of aging, this added strain can accelerate memory decline and reduce mental clarity. Imagine trying to solve a crossword puzzle or engage in meaningful conversation when your mind feels foggy and unfocused. It's frustrating, isn't it? How to master the art of waking up slowly. Fortunately, avoiding the pitfalls of a rushed awakening is entirely within reach. With a few simple adjustments, you can transform your mornings into a sanctuary of calm and intentionality. Here are some practical tips to guide you. Embrace the pause. Instead of bolting upright as soon as your eyes open, take a moment to lie still and breathe deeply. Allow your body to transition gently from sleep to wakefulness. Visualize gratitude for the new day ahead, focusing on positive thoughts to cultivate a sense of peace. The hidden danger of neglecting morning sunlight exposure. As the golden rays of dawn break through the horizon, they bring with them more than just a picturesque view. They carry profound benefits for both physical and mental health. Yet, many seniors unintentionally overlook one of the simplest yet most impactful morning habits: stepping outside to soak in natural sunlight. While it may seem like a trivial detail, Neglecting this practice can have far-reaching consequences, particularly for individuals over 70 who are already navigating the complexities of aging. Why sunlight matters more than ever after 70. Sunlight is not merely a source of warmth and illumination. It plays a critical role in regulating our internal biological clock, known as the circadian rhythm. This intricate system governs everything from sleep patterns to hormone production, mood stability, and even immune function. For older adults, whose bodies are often less adept at adapting to environmental cues, maintaining a robust circadian rhythm becomes essential for overall well-being. Imagine waking up to the soft chirping of birds and deciding to stay indoors, drawing the curtains shut against the bright light. At first glance, this decision might seem harmless, a preference for comfort or routine. However, over time, avoiding sunlight exposure can disrupt your body's ability to distinguish between day and night. This confusion can lead to insomnia, daytime fatigue, and an increased risk of depression or anxiety, all conditions that disproportionately affect seniors. Consider Helen, an 81-year-old retired teacher who lives alone. Over the years, she developed a habit of staying indoors during the early hours, preferring the coziness of her living room to the unpredictability of the outdoors. Unbeknownst to her, this choice contributed to a gradual decline in her energy levels and mood. She began experiencing restless nights, waking up frequently, and struggling to fall back asleep. By mid-morning, she felt groggy and unmotivated, which made it harder to engage in activities she once enjoyed, such as gardening or volunteering at the local library. When Helen finally consulted her doctor about her persistent fatigue, she was surprised to learn that her lack of sunlight exposure could be partly to blame. Her physician explained how sunlight triggers the release of serotonin, a neurotransmitter responsible for boosting mood and promoting feelings of calmness and focus. Conversely, insufficient sunlight can lead to lower serotonin levels, increasing susceptibility to seasonal affective disorder, SAD, and other forms of depression. The science behind sunlight and vitamin D. Beyond its effects on mood and sleep, sunlight also serves as a vital source of vitamin D, a nutrient crucial for bone health, immune function, and cardiovascular wellness. As we age, our skin becomes less efficient at synthesizing vitamin D from sunlight, making intentional exposure even more important. According to research published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism, nearly half of all adults over 65 are deficient in vitamin D, putting them at greater risk for osteoporosis, fractures, and chronic inflammation. For seniors, the stakes are high. A deficiency in vitamin D not only weakens bones, but also compromises the immune system, leaving the body vulnerable to infections and autoimmune disorders. Furthermore, studies suggest a link between low vitamin D levels and cognitive decline, highlighting the importance of maintaining adequate stores as part of a holistic approach to aging gracefully. Take George, a 73-year-old avid reader who spends most of his mornings engrossed in books. Despite his active mind, he rarely ventured outside before noon, relying instead on dietary supplements to meet his nutritional needs. However, after experiencing frequent muscle cramps and unexplained fatigue, he decided to incorporate short walks into his morning routine. Within weeks, he noticed significant improvements. Not only did his physical symptoms subside, but his mental clarity and emotional resilience also improved. How to harness the power of morning sunlight. Incorporating sunlight into your morning routine doesn't require drastic changes. Even small adjustments can yield substantial benefits. Here are some practical strategies to help you embrace the healing power of sunlight. The overlooked perils of skipping morning mindfulness practices. As we age, our minds become as vital to our well-being as our bodies, if not more so. Yet, many seniors inadvertently neglect one of the most transformative morning habits: mindfulness practices. Whether it's meditation, deep breathing exercises, or simply taking a moment to reflect, these activities are often dismissed as too time-consuming or not practical. However, failing to incorporate mindfulness into your morning routine can leave you mentally unprepared for the challenges of the day, heightening stress, anxiety, and even physical discomfort. Why mindfulness matters after 70. Mindfulness is more than just a trendy buzzword. It's a powerful tool for cultivating mental clarity, emotional resilience, and overall vitality. For older adults, whose lives are often shaped by transitions, retirement, loss of loved ones, health changes, developing a mindful mindset becomes especially crucial. Studies have shown that mindfulness practices can reduce symptoms of depression, improve memory and focus, and even lower blood pressure. Imagine starting your day without pausing to center yourself. You wake up, immediately consumed by thoughts of obligations, worries about the future, or regrets from the past. By the time you finish your morning coffee, you're already feeling overwhelmed, scattered, and emotionally drained. Now imagine an alternative scenario. Instead of jumping straight into the chaos, you dedicate 5 minutes to sitting quietly, focusing on your breath, and grounding yourself in the present moment. Which version of your morning would you prefer? Take Mary, a 76-year-old widow who lives alone. After losing her husband, she found herself struggling with loneliness and insomnia. Her mornings were a blur of negative thoughts, replaying memories of happier times and worrying about what lay ahead. One day, her granddaughter suggested she try a simple mindfulness exercise, sitting by the window each morning, closing her eyes, and focusing on her breathing for 5 minutes. Skeptical, but willing to try anything, Mary gave it a shot. To her surprise, those brief moments of stillness transformed her mornings, and eventually her entire outlook on life. She began feeling calmer, more focused, and better equipped to handle daily challenges.